full of it. 7 days a week I work daylight till dark, trying to make a better man of myself and trying to make a better life for those around me and those that I care for. And now I know that if you're watching this video, your life has been full of blood, sweat, and tears in your own right to get you to the point that you're at in your life right now. And now we got a group of fucking politicians thinking that they're going to take our rights away, that our blood and our sweat and our tears, the same fucking thing that this country is built on, blood, sweat, and tears of other men who gave their lives so that we could live a life of fucking freedom and prosperity in what could be one of the richest countries in this world. But instead, we're watching our politicians bankrupt this country, give billions of fucking dollars away offshore, while our fucking people in this country go without water, drinkable water, proper shelter, fucking homeless. We can go on and on. The corruption never fucking ends. This country was built on blood, sweat, and tears, people. Our freedoms are in jeopardy. We're being attacked from within by our own fucking government. And it's going to take blood, sweat, and it's going to take fucking tears to regain what's rightfully ours, to cast this fucking useless, corrupt government the fuck out. Anybody that belongs to the World Economic Forum should be cast out from any type of government in this country and never allowed to fucking participate there again. Go be a part of your fucking club, you cocksuckers, but get the fuck out of our country. Blood, sweat, and tears, people. It's time to start shedding it in order to keep our fucking country and to save our kids from these pedophile motherfuckers. I love each and every one of you.
The Iran-Russia-China military exercises in Venezuela. Not getting a lot of attention from the Western media. Let's go ahead and look at the map and see what's happening this week. Alright, the China, Iran, and Russia presence in this area here. These are military operations. Now, the Western media, of course, is portraying it as military exercises, but I'm going to remind you of something. When's the last time Russia had a heavy presence in this area? It's called the Cuban Missile Crisis. And during the Cuban Missile Crisis, the Soviets transported 41,000 troops wearing civilian clothes and presented them as agricultural specialists. At the end of the Cold War, it was revealed that there's 162 nuclear weapons stationed in Cuba when the crisis ended. With these exercises, I'd be more worried about what they're going to leave behind. It's something to keep in mind. Now, in the coming months, we all know winter's coming. Venezuela currently is engaged in talks with Colombia once again for more joint military cooperation, which is going to cause civil unrest and even more mass migration up to the United States. We're not going to go down the whole terrorist thing and everything else. I've already covered it multiple times. I think it's pretty common sense. Let's come over here real quick to Saudi Arabia. Now, about a year ago, Russia engaged with talks with Saudi Arabia to sign a deal to develop joint military cooperation once again. Now, you're aware of the pending blackouts scenario up in this area, okay? Now, developed this week as well is Xi Jinping is going to come over and visit Saudi Arabia and have some talks. Taiwan, still heavily circled by China. They're terrifying these people. It's going to cause chip disruptions. They used to hang out on their beach with their families and their children. Now those beaches are heavily fortified. You might have a difference in an opinion, but at the end of the day, if you don't believe that that's not going to affect chip production, I don't know what to tell you. Now, the CHIPS Act over here, great. What's the ETOC on that? In the coming months, are they going to be able to meet demand? Look, every empire needs goods. You disrupt the goods, the empire starts to crumble. If you study China and you understand how they conduct their wars, I'll leave you with this. Sun Tzu, the supreme art of war is to subdue the enemy without fighting.
That if we don't get one disease under control, you may find legislative bodies taking whole classes of people based upon propensity of conduct to say, we're going to put you in a certain category. We're going to demand mandatory testing for you.
Hey, tap into good health. I never head out without my New York City tap water. Hot outside. outside, I urge every New Yorker to drink up. Tap water is the best.
I want to start off by saying Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yaharushai, Barakatha Yahweh, Barakatha Yaharushai. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yaharushai. Call halal Yahweh by Hashem Yaharushai, by Hashem Akakadas. Double honors to the elders and apostles at Great Millstone that told me this doctrine in truth and sincerity. Shalom to elect. The Heavenly Father's name is Yahweh, which means He is or He exists. By Hashem, in the name of His only begotten Son, who the world ignorant calls Jesus Christ. We know His name to be Yaharushai, which means He is the deliverer, He is the Savior. For the Hebrew Israelites from the pedigree of your father, by Hashem, in the name of the Ruach HaKodesh, which means the Holy Spirit, that's able to give us this knowledge, wisdom, understanding of who we are, which are the true Hebrew Israelites. If you're so-called Negro, so-called Latino, so-called Native American, or of the speckled bird looking like the other nations, and your spirit bear witness with this doctrine that we are the children of Yahweh Shem Shai, then you could be one elect. Shalom. We've been discontinued from our heritage because we went off following after false gods and false idols, not following the law, statute, commandments that was given to us by our forefathers. And because of those offenses, we were sent into captivity. But through Yaharushai HaMashiach being that perfect lamb, that perfect sacrifice, through His blood that He ransomed, for His elect, okay, that He would be able to Yaharushai would be able to open up the seals of the book to be able to give the understanding to the prophets, and the prophets will be able to give the understanding to bid the rest of the elect to the marriage before what all destruction happens to Babylon the Great. Babylon the Great in the scriptures is actually America, which is the cash cow for these elites, okay, which is the so-called white man of today, which is biblical nationality is actually being an Edomite, okay? Esau means wasted away he is, and they are the biblical Edomites that it speaks about in the scriptures, that in the latter days would have the fatness of the earth, which would be the resources, okay, the money, the best lands, and would control it with the great sword, okay? And with that great sword, you're seeing that being on display, okay? You have, the wars and the rumors of wars, okay? You have the pestilence, okay? You have all the things that Matthew 24 speaks about when the disciples inquired, Yaharushai, what shall be the end times? Okay, we're in the twilight of the end of Esau, Edom's rulership, bringing in the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Yaharushai, the kingdom of Yaharushai, Yasha'Allah. Okay, the elect being joint heirs. Okay, so this destruction has to happen. Okay, war has to happen. All out chaos, order out of chaos in the Latin. Okay, which these elites are bringing to the people. Okay, the Novus Ordo Securium, which is on the back of the dollar bill, the New World Order, the one world military, the one world government, okay, the one world religion, and in that religion, they want you to worship the beast, their philosophies, to take implant under your skin, in your forehead, or in your hand, so they can be able to link you to their smart cities and control you through a social credit system, control you by having a cashless society, taking away the paper bill, okay, the paper dollar, bringing in these central banking digital currencies, which are controlled by blockchains. And if you don't comply to their mandates, to their hot sauce, to their jump shots, then they can be able to easily shut you off from society. Okay, and their inward thought, these elites, the wicked, right, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Warburgs, their inward thought is that their kingdom is going to continue. Okay, but that's their pride, and their pride have deceived them. Okay, because Yahweh Shem Shai is in control of the whole movie. This story has been written from the beginning. Okay, and spoiler alert, Yaharushai wins, the righteous win, and the elect's going to be joint heirs. We're praying that we're of the hopeful elect by making our call and election sure, by standing firm upon this rock, which is the rock of Yaharushai, okay, which is that foundation, which is what we trust in, okay, because that is our salvation, right? And this lesson is going to be based around the wars and rumors of wars, the class wars, the civil wars. Okay, with those videos, I showed you about 4 different wars that are going on. Okay, so you have the kingdom against kingdom. Okay, you have what? Russia versus America, China versus Taiwan versus America, Iran versus Israel. Okay, and the guy was breaking down all the different places, far as the last time when Russia was actually over there in Cuba, which is during what the missile crisis, which is during what JFK, when basically JFK put out that speech about conspiracy theories. Okay, that they have something that's called the shadow government, okay, which we know to be the elites. We know to be what the wicked. We know to be what the Edomites, the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers, the Oppenheimers, the DuPonts, the Warburgs, the banksters of this world that are that have all the power. Okay, give me control of the money system and care not who makes the laws. Okay, that was a quote from one of the Rothschilds. Okay, and they don't care about who makes the legislation. Okay, because they have everyone in their pocket. Every one of these cult of personalities that you see, like Pedo Joe, Barack Obama, Trump, Pelosi, okay, Zelensky. All these are set up puppets that are in the pocket, and they all do all these background deals with these different countries to wage war on the people. Because right now they have a siege on the people in Babylon the Great and other parts of the world to ultimately have everyone take that implant that goes under your skin or under your hand, because that's ultimate control. Okay, and they know that they have but a short time, and they know what the true men in the Lord are. That's why they're trying to block it. Block this the truth, which they can't, through their misinformation, their disinformation, through their deception, through accusing thy brethren, categorizing. Okay, but they can't do nothing against the truth but for the truth. Right? They don't understand that this is a spiritual warfare that they're not going to win. Okay? Because their pride has, their sins have reached the heavens. Okay? And Yahweh Shema Shai has, used this devil to be the wicked. Okay? And now his time's up. Because he has a balance that he cannot pass. Okay, let's get that. That's Job 14:5. Because his eyes are upon the sinful kingdom, because the Lord is not prolonging his word anymore, and he's bringing forth the plagues. This is Job 14:5. Seeing his days are determined, that the number of his months are with thee, thou hast appointed bounds that he cannot pass. Okay, and what we're speaking about is the wicked. Okay, Malachi 1:4. Malachi 1:4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we will return and build the desolate places. Okay, so again, they were put down for 1,000 years. They were over there in the Russia, Georgia, Caucasus Mountains, eating juniper roots and wearing their underwear till it rotted off them, and they were speaking like cavemen. Okay, they had no sense of hygiene or no sense of how to be able to even survive. Okay, and the Lord has raised up the vilest men to be able to control the world, to be able to ultimately show us what unrighteous rulership is and why this place has to be taken down, so we can be omnipotent like our Lord, to be able to know what's good, okay, what's righteous, which is this word, and what's wicked, which is what Esau Edom, which is the darkness, right? This is Job 30:8. Job 30:8, it says, they were children of fools, yet children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Okay, they were viler than the earth, and they were created to dishonor. Okay, they were created to be the wicked. Okay, this is let me read this again. It says they were children of fools, yet children of base men. They were viler than the earth. Yep, because the Lord raised them up. This is 1 Samuel 2:6. 1 Samuel 2:7. The Lord Yahweh maketh poor and maketh rich. He bringeth low and lifteth up. Yeah, so the Lord can lift up whoever that he wants to be able to be in rulership. But he raised up these vile men, okay, to be able to show people what true wickedness is. Okay, ultimately bringing the destruction of this place, because it's all for the demise, to bring in the kingdom of Yahweh Shem Shai. Okay, and right now you have the men of the Lord that are standing in that exceedingly great army. Let's get this. Jeremiah 1:10. Seeing I have this day set thee over the nations and over the kingdoms, to root out, to pull down, to destroy, and to throw down, to build, and to plant. So The tabernacle of David is being risen up. The hopeful elect is being risen up to over these nations. What? In wisdom, because wisdom doesn't dwell with a fool. Okay, wisdom. Yahweh doesn't dwell with those that don't have with malicious soul. Okay, which they do. Their wisdom is actually going to be what their ultimately their judgment, and the wisdom is actually in the scriptures and following Yahweh Shem Shai and feeling him. And fearing him, Slakia, and fearing him. Okay, so that's why their kingdoms being rooted out, because they didn't follow none of the law, statute, commandments. They weren't given the law, statute, commandments, because Yahweh has turned his face from the evil, wicked spirit, starting with Cain, and then Esau is a reincarnation of a Cain, which is the wicked. Okay, and he's being pulled down from his lofty estate, from the clefts of the rocks, to ultimately be destroyed by those hypersonic missiles, starting from the inside and out. Okay, and to be able to build the tabernacle of David, rising up, making that living sacrifice. Okay, standing in the face of adversity, and its own devil's evil, wicked queendom, and standing for Yahweh Shema Shai, standing for righteousness, and to plant. And that seed has been planted, and it's pulling down this government, it's pulling down this mountain. Okay, that of Esau, Edom, his kingdom, because he's reached a point of his peak, and they were at the point of what? His destruction. Going back to Malachi 1 and 4. Whereas Edom, okay, Edom is the Edom means what? Red. Okay, going back to Adawan, right? And they are what? The true red men. Okay, going back to Cain killing his brother Abel, which is he was cursed with what? Leprosy, to be what? Translucent, to be a lack of pigmentation. Okay, where you can be able to see his skin, right? It says we are impoverished, but we return and build the desolate places. Okay, and so that's what they did over here, starting in what? The mid 1300s. Covering the faces of the judges thereof. Okay, gaining power, breaking down strongholds, breaking down, when we were in rulership in the Dark Ages, the Byzantine Empire. Okay, establishing their empire with iconoclasm. Covering the faces of the judges thereof. Putting forth, which were dark images, putting forth their pale face, butt naked baby images, okay, abominations to the Lord, and they started to build up in about what? 1776, May 1st, 1776, which is on the back of your dollar bill in the Latin, okay, and that's when Adam Weishaupt, some say Weishaupt, some say Weishaupt, okay, and he was he was funded by the Rothschilds, and the Rothschilds wanted him to make a plan on how they can be able to bring in their New World Order by controlling the school system, controlling the, the religion, okay, controlling, the health facilities, and then also controlling the media, okay, through the newspapers and things like that, okay. And ultimately controlling all the people, dividing our people to where we didn't know our places. It says, but we return and build the desolate places. So they built Babylon the Great, which you see right now, this great kingdom that was once so-called great, okay, but now it's being called nothing but a shit show, okay, because you have a pedo Joe in rulership. You have, that's the so-called king of Babylon. Okay, you have these pedos that are out here. You have man on man, woman on woman. You have transformers. Okay, you have all these abominations and all these different nations that once wanted to come here to Babylon the Great to be able to make money, because this is known as that merchant city, known as the purple royalty. Okay, the mother of all harlots, because you can be able to do whatever you want, and ultimately our people, which is so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans, okay, have been oppressed here through blood, sweat, and tears, just like the guy said. Okay, through blood, sweat, and tears, we have been building up this place, okay, to what it is. And what you see is ultimately the destruction of it, because now we built this place and now we're tearing it down. As it said in Jeremiah 1 and 10. Now we're breaking it down through this word. This word is hewing this place, cutting it asunder, bringing forth the vision, bringing forth the judgment that Yahweh Shema Shai said from the beginning. Okay? And now this place is being destroyed. So they would build the desolate places. Yeah, they built New York City, LA, built their high skyscrapers, put a stronghold on all these different countries with the hammer of the earth, which is their military. Okay, thus said Yahweh of hosts. Yeah, host means armies. They shall build, but I will throw down. Yeah, Yahweh Shai is going to throw them down because he's coming back with Matthew 10 and 34. He's coming back with that great sword. But first, it starts with the words of Yahweh Shai, which are what through Yahweh Shai speaks to what the prophets. The prophets are able to get the breath of life. Okay, to be able to get the understanding of the scriptures, to be able to see what's going on in the world, and to be able to filter it through the scriptures. Because let me get something real quick. I want to get two scriptures, and I'm building this up, to be able to have the understanding that the wisdom that we have is ultimately a war tactic that Yahweh Shem Shai has given his elect, which is the tabernacle of David. Because if we're of the tabernacle of David, right, we would be what those fearsome warriors, and it's a fierce, an honor to be a part of this exceedingly great army. Because again, physically we would have been in the war back then, and now we're in a spiritual warfare, and we're trusting on Yahweh Shema Shai, and he's gonna train our hands for battle. So I want to get this real quick. This is Sirach. This is in the Apocrypha. This is 17, I think about 5. Yep, right here. Right, so Sirach 17 and 5, they received the use of 5 operations of Yahweh Shema Shai. So a regular person sees what the 5 operations, right? And the 6th place, he imparted them understanding, and the 7th speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. Okay, so a prophet is going to have what? The 6, which is what? The understanding of what's going on. Okay, they're not blinded. They know that who Esau Edom is. They know who they are. Okay, and what it says the 7th speech to interpreter of the cogitations thereof. So to be able to see what's going on in the world and what filter it through the scriptures. Okay, that's the seven operations. Okay, which 7 goes into what? Completion. It says counsel and tongue, eyes and ears, heart gave him to understand. Withal he filled them with knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil. He showed us good and evil. Okay, and showing us that our Lord is also, that he controls good and evil. Okay, because a lot of people in the world, they don't have that understanding. They don't understand that our Lord controls what good and evil. Okay, let me just get a scripture real quick. Isaiah 45 and 7. I form the light, I create darkness, I make peace, I create evil. I, Yahweh, do all these things. Okay, the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai does all these things. He has control of the whole movie. Okay, and he's revealed his secrets to his servants, the prophets. Let's get that. Amos 3 and 6. Shall a trumpet be blown in the city and the people not be afraid? Shall there be evil in the city and Yahweh had not done it? So again, when you're seeing these wars in all these different places, starting with class wars, civil wars, race wars, kingdom wars, this is all Yahweh Shema Shai, because he is a man of war. And his son is the same, he's on the same accord, right? Ultimately to bring in the kingdom. This is Exodus 15 and 3. The Lord Yahweh, it says the Lord Adonai Yahweh is a man of war. Yahweh is his name, okay? That is his name, in the ancient Hebrew. And we're coming back to our heritage of who we truly are. They tried to hide that. That was a war tactic that they put on our people to not know who we are, okay? But the Lord is revealed the secrets to his servants, the prophets, okay, to be able to know who we are, and that is power. And that's why they're afraid. Amos 3 and 7 showed that the Lord Yahweh Shema Shai would do nothing, but he revealed his secret to the servants, the prophets. Okay, and because those secrets have been revealed, starting with Abba Bivens, which is Elijah, which is John the Baptist reincarnated to wake up what the fathers of the father's children, right? Roughly paraphrasing Malachi 4. Okay, until you had the camps of one west, and now you have the head apostles at Great Millstone, and the elders, right, and the men on down that are preaching the testimony of Yahweh Shai. Okay. Revelation 11:11, and after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yahweh entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon which saw them. Okay, yeah. So we were spiritually dead from the neck up. We needed a physician, which is what? Yahawashi. Yahawashi is the physician, and he's healing us what through this word. Okay, and these devils are afraid because they know that their end is near. Okay, skipping down. And right now, they're in fear because of they see that the only thing they can do is actually go to World War III to be able to gain all power to bring in their new world order. Because again, Revelation 12:12, they know that they have but a short time. Revelation 11:14, the second woe was past, and that second woe is going into World War II. Okay, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. Okay, so now we're in that space where World War III is about to happen, but we know the end is not yet. We know that they have to implement that charagma and an ointment incense all around the world before our Lord draws the sky. He comes to intervene for which is considered the time of the hour of temptation, right? And because we're standing, let's get that. That's Ezekiel 37. Because as they're gauging up their warfare, their military tactics on the left-hand side, Yahweh Shemashai is gaining up his war. Okay, to be opposed against these devils. Let's just get that. Ezekiel 37:10. It says, yep. So let's go to 9. I want to read this in the NLT. Then he said to me, speak prophetic message to the wind, son of man. Speak prophetic message and say, this is what Sovereign Yahweh Shemashai says, come, O breath, from the four winds, breathe into these dead bodies so they may live again. Okay, so the four corners of the earth, right? That's why you have brothers over there in the UK. You have brothers over there in London. Okay, you have brothers over there in the Philippines. You have brothers, of course, all around Babylon the Great. You have brothers in Canada. You have brothers in Mexico. Okay, they're all coming in on the same accord, speaking the same thing, all saying the same name in the ancient Hebrew, Yahweh Ba'Shem Yahushai. Yahweh, which is the Heavenly Father, and His Son Yahawashi. Okay, they're all speaking with the same doctrine, but in different tongues. Okay, so those dead bodies are starting to live because we were spiritually dead for the neck up. Because you have 2/3 of our people are in the congregation of the dead. They don't know who they are. They're in Pan-Africanism. They're still going to these Christian churches. They're in Roman Catholicism. They got a big ass unk on. They got a big ass cross on. Okay, and they don't know that these are actually symbolism of the devil. Okay, what Esau Edom has put in place to deceive the people. Okay, and that is a trap and a snare. It says 10, so I prophesied as he commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. Okay, prophesied, which means what? Let's bring it out. So I prophesied, so he went to do the work. Okay, he went on the highways and the byways. Okay, to be able to do the work, to be able to draw in the elect, the lost sheep of Israel, and tell them the kingdom is at hand. Okay, so if you're not doing that work, then the Lord doesn't need you. And what is He going to do? He's going to fire you. You're going to get caught up in the scourges, okay, the famine, the pestilence, the evils, these class wars, these civil wars, right? Because as you see that the one, he looked like he was a white dude, but you don't know, right? But you know that he's one of those hard workers. So he's been labeled, he's been taken out of the list. He's been taken out of the equation of being part of these elites. Okay, and what are you seeing? Those are going to be the ones that are going to be gearing up arms. That's sedition amongst people.
Strong's H 5012. Nava.
Yeah, this is Hebrews 50:12, right? To prophesy under the influence of divine spirit. So who is that divine spirit? That's Yahweh Shemashai working on your brain to be able to bring forth these epistles, go on the highways and the byways, and to inspire others. Through this word, under the influence, right? It says inspiration. Yep, perfect. Okay, the inspiration. What is the inspiration? Being able to be saved from the said perils. Okay, being able to be with Yahweh Shemashai. Able to You have Yahawashi name glorified and your name glorified with Him because you put in that work. Okay, because you prophesied. Now, and not everyone's a prophet, but the thing is believe in the report. Doing your lot, whatever that your measure is, because we're all part of the body if we have this understanding. It says, so I prophesied as commanded me, and the breath came into them, and they lived and stood upon their feet, an exceedingly great army. So again, going into that army. Let's see if it has anything for army. Because as Esau Edom's gearing up for his war, we're gearing up right now too. spiritually. Okay, and our Lord's going to fight for us. Okay, it doesn't say anything. I didn't think so. Oh, yeah, right here.
Strong's H2428. Chayil.
Okay, that's that word, what? Army. Okay, strength, might, efficiency, wealth, army, strength, ability, efficiency, wealth, force, army. Okay, so again, we are an army when we have Yahweh Shema Shai, when we have what our commander, our commander in chief. Okay, when we have our true power, we're able to have true strength. Okay, but when we go worshiping these other gods, guess what? We go to a lower state, and the Lord doesn't sup with us, and He has to what? Chastise us. Okay, yeah, might, power, riches, strength, strong and substance trained. Okay, that's why we glory in what Yahweh Shema Shai. Jeremiah. See, I haven't went to this in a while. Let's see if I got it. Jeremiah. Yep, Jeremiah 9:23, thus said Yahweh, let not the wise man glory in his wisdom, neither let the mighty man glory in his might. Let not the rich man glory in his riches. And what is Esau Edom doing? He's glorying in what? The riches that Yahweh Shema Shai gave him. He's not glorying in Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay? It says 24, but let him that glory in this, that he understand and knoweth me, that I am Yahweh, which exercise love and kindness, judgment, righteousness in the earth. For all these things I delight, said Yahweh. Okay? So that is the delight when you what? Glory in his son. Glory in Yahweh Shema Shai. When you don't glory in Yahweh Shema Shai, that's going to be your judgment. Okay? Because you didn't want to hearken to, first of all, the prophets. You what? Misused the prophets. Because the Lord sent forth what? This army, which is the spiritual army right now, to what? Give you the warning. Okay? This is 2 Chronicles 36:15. It says, and Yahweh thy father sent to him his messengers, rising betimes. Okay, what? Rising up early. Okay, betimes means what? Early, letting you know, warning you. It says, and sending because he had compassion on his people in the dwelling place. Who are his people? Okay, the Israelites, you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. Okay, the only ones, 1 John 3 and 4. That were given what? The law, statute, commandments, transgression of the law, that were given the statutes and judgments. That's in Exodus 24. Or it might be 23. Let me see real quick. When Moses went up, let's see. Bear with me. I think it might be, let's see, 24, let's see. Yeah, right here, Khan. This is Twala Yahweh Shema Shai, Exodus 24:12. And Yahweh said unto Moses, come up to me into the mount and be there, and I will give thee tables of stone and law of commandments, which I have written, that they may teach them. Okay, so Moses was what? A Levite. Okay, which he was an Israelite. Okay, from the tribe of what? The Levites. Okay, they were the Levitical priesthood back then. Okay, and they gave what? The law, statute, commandments that was given to him what? By Yahweh Shema Shai on the mountain. Okay. And then he gave them to what? The Israel. Okay, which is the same thing you see now. Right? And those weren't given to these other nations, because we are what? Above these nations. When we have when we're with our true power. So when you try to be equal to these devils, you're belittling yourself. Deuteronomy 7:6, for thou art holy people unto Yahweh Shema Shai. It says, thy power Yahweh had chosen thee to be a special people unto himself above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And these devils know that. Okay, that's why what? They hiss and they wag, because they see, let's see, 2, Lamentations 2:16. 15. All that pass by clap their hands of thee, and they hiss and wag their head at the daughter of Jerusalem, saying, is this the city that men call the perfection of the beauty of the joy of the whole earth? All thy enemies have opened their mouth against thee, and they hiss and mash their teeth. They say, we have swallowed her up. Certainly this is the day. What we look for, we have found and have seen it. Okay, so that's what these other nations do. Because what? They have consulted together to hide thy hidden ones. Okay, and they don't want any more than Esau. They want the same thing Esau Edom wants, is to what? Keep us oppressed. Okay, because China thinks they got next. Okay, Russia thinks they got next. Okay, all these, North Korea things they got next. Okay, and they have consulted together. This is Psalms 83:2. For lo, enemies have make atonement. Okay, so what? Atonement means what? Commotion, and they hate thee. They have lifted up their head. They have taken a crafty counsel against thy people and consulted against thy hidden ones. Okay, so who are the hidden ones? Right, those would be the Hebrew Israelites. They have what? Conspired, which is a conspiracy. Two or more gathered together in secret to what? Bring forth wickedness. Okay, and these are not conspiracy theories. These are conspiracy facts. They have done it, and they're letting you know every single time they bring out a pestilence, they always start off with some weird thing, and then they always go back to Jake. It's always Jake's fault. It says, for they have said, come and let us cut them off from being a nation, and the name of Israel will be no more in remembrance. For they have consulted together in one consent. They are confederate against thee. Okay, then it goes to the hit list. You have Edom. Okay, you have the Chinese. You have the Iranians. You have the Persians. You have the Hamites. Okay, and they have consulted against thy hidden ones. Okay, so right now we're in a spiritual warfare. And they're trying to with their lies and deception, bring in their New World Order. Meanwhile, on the right hand side, Yahweh Shemashai is raising up that exceedingly great army. Okay, but you also have 2/3 of our people that are against us, that are what? Mocking and scoffing. 2 Chronicles 36:16. But they mocked the messengers of Yahweh and despised his words and misused his prophets until the wrath of Yahweh arose against his people till there was no remedy. Okay, there's not going to be no remedy because they're coming in with these tanks. They're coming in with these super soldiers. You saw the video where they had the UN troops that are at the border, and they're letting them in at the busloads. All these, Ukrainians, which are all Nazis. Okay, then you have the Afghanistan people that are going to be coming over here, and those are going to be those sleeper cells. Ultimately, going to be those IRS agents that are going to have those guns going to be going into your house, because they already passed a law within a 100-mile radius. They can be able to take away your Fourth Amendment right, which is they can legally come into your house and take you out of there and call you a health risk, bring you to these internment camps that they have set up, which 10 parts of the earth, or it's like 10 parts of Babylon that they already have set up. They already have where they're going to cut off the food supply. They're going to cut off the water. With the HR, or the Executive Order 14067, which is they're going to be knocking off the paper dollar. Okay, so you only can be living off the central banking digital currency. Okay, the digital dollar, which they have to watch every movement. Okay, they already have where in China where you scan your forehead to be able to buy stuff. You have at Amazon where they want you to scan your hand. Okay, to be able to scan your hand to be able to buy and sell. Okay, they already have the infrastructure set up, right? And it's something that's physical. So anybody that's mocking the messengers, which you have messengers that are in celestial bodies, okay, which are the angels, right? And then also you have the angels, the messengers, which are in this terrestrial bodies, okay, that are in the flesh, which would be the prophets. Okay, and all these, let's get that. This is good set against evil. Let's get a couple scriptures on that. That's Sirach. I want to say that's 33:14. Sirach 33:14. Yeah, good is set against evil, and life against death. So is the godly against the sinner, and the sinner against the godly. So look upon all the works of the Most High, and they are 2 and 2, one against another. Okay, showing you that you have the protagonist, which is the tabernacle of David, which is the righteous, and then you have the antagonist, which is the villain, which is the wicked. Okay, which is Esau Edom, which is the white man of today, right? And that's just like in the movies, they always have a good guy and a bad guy, or they have maybe they have a guy that's going through something, and then he has something that's adverse to it, and then that's to be able to strengthen us. That's what how about Shemashai is doing. He's strengthening us by showing them both sides of the spectrum. Okay, so we can be omnipotent like our Lord. This is Sirach 42 and about 23. All these things live and remain forever for all uses, and they are all obedient. All things are double once against another, and he had made nothing imperfect. One thing established the good, or another, who shall be filled with beholding the glory? Okay, who's going to be holding the glory? The elect, the remnant. Okay, why? Because they held on to this wisdom. Okay, because this wisdom is going to be able to have you endure to the end. right? It is the tree of life. Let me get, since we're speaking about wisdom, I have to do it. Wisdom of Solomon 7. Wisdom of Solomon 7 and 24. For wisdom is more moving than any motion. She passeth and goeth through all things by reason of her pureness. Okay, for she, or that she is speaking about wisdom, is the breath of power of Yahweh and a pure influence flowing from the glory of the Almighty. Therefore can no defiled thing fall into her. For she is brightness and everlasting light, the unspotted mirror, the power of Yahweh and the image of the goodness. Yeah, so you can't go buy wisdom. You know, you can't go to Target and say, hey, I want some wisdom. Or you can't go to Target or Walmart to say, hey, I want some faith. These things have to be given to you by the person that has all power, which is Yahweh Shema Shai. Okay, it says 27, and being but one, she can do all things, and remaining in herself, she maketh all things new, in all ages entering into holy souls. Holy means what? Separate, and we are what? Separate from this world. That's why it speaks about what? Come up hither, right? She maketh them friends of Yahweh and prophets. So also it says the same thing what in John 15. Okay, you know, what service is how beautiful is a service when a man will lay down his own life for his brothers. And that's what we're doing. We're doing all things for what the elect's sake. Okay, by making our bodies a living sacrifice, being out there on the highways and the byways doing these epistles, okay, coming up against what this government, coming up against their beast system, okay, confining them in their own kingdom, okay, and then some of us are gonna have to taste death. Okay, some of us are gonna have to be beheaded for the truth. But if you have this truth and you endure to the end and you stand stiffly, okay, that's a crown upon your head. That's an automatic crown upon your head. And the Lord is going to be with you through what that adversity, so you won't feel no pain. Okay? That's all about trusting in Yahweh Shema Shai, because we are friends of Yahweh Shema Shai. And a true friend, a true friend is always going to look out for you. Okay? It says, wisdom, right? She maketh them friends of Yahweh and the prophets. Okay? Because to be able to have this understanding, now you're set above the nations, okay? To be able to stand, and the Lord's going to put that hedge around you no matter where you go. Okay, for Yahweh loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom, okay? And that was the point right there. It says, for Yahweh loveth none but him that dwelleth with wisdom, okay? What is wisdom? Following the law, statutes, commandments to your best ability, okay? Rehearsing the righteous acts, being remorseful, okay? Being with that contrite heart, and being not being proud, putting off that old man, putting on that new man, which is these scriptures. And Esau Edom's not going to do that because Yahweh's face doesn't shine on his face. He doesn't shine for him to have what that understanding. Okay, that's why his going back to Malachi 1 and 4. Malachi 1 and 4, whereas Edom said, we are impoverished, but we return and build the desolate places. Thus said Yahweh of hosts, they shall build, but I will throw down, and shall call them the border of wickedness, and the people against whom Yahweh had indignation forever. That's why this place has to be judged, okay? Because this devil is in rulership, and he has to be put down because he is the border of wickedness. And Yahweh Shai is known as the peacemaker. He's bringing in righteousness. And with that kingdom, with this kingdom, you can't have two kings. So one has to when one's up, one has to be down, because of what? They are adverse to the scriptures. They have a perpetual hatred that it speaks about, or that everlasting hatred. Okay? So this is, what is that? Psalms, I think that's 75. Yep. Psalm 75 and 7. But Yahweh is the judge. He puffeth down one and set up another. For in the hand of Yahweh there is a cup, and the wine is red, and it is full of mixture, and he poureth out the same. But the dregs thereof of the wicked of the earth shall wring them out and drink them. Yeah, so they're going to drink of those hypersonic missiles, those tsunamis being put down, getting dragged out of the clefts of the rocks. Okay? Because of what? The Lord is putting down this unrighteous king. Because the rich is what? Got by deceit. So this is Isaiah 13:11, it says, I will punish the world for their evil and their wicked for their iniquity. I cause the arrogancy of the proud to cease and will lay low the haughtiness of the terrible. Okay, so what? Laying down his kingdom, because he thinks that he's actually waging war on the people. But that's Yahweh Shema Shai putting that spirit into him, working on the king's mind to do his pleasure. Ultimately destroying his own kingdom. Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of Yahweh. As the rivers of water, he turned it whatsoever he will. Okay? And Yahweh Shema Shai is turned into whatsoever it will by having what Esau, Edom being more draconian, coming with these unrighteous decrees, the unrighteous policies, changing the laws and ordinances. Okay? And that's bringing forth what? This right here. Isaiah 19:2, I will set the Egyptians against the Egyptians, and they shall fight one against another as brother, and every one against his neighbor, city against, it says, city against city, and the kingdom against kingdom. Okay, and that's what you're seeing right now. Okay, you have the class wars, the civil wars. You have what? Pro-life versus not pro-life. You have what? White versus black. Okay, you have good versus evil. Okay, you have what? Pedo Joe versus Trump. Okay, you have what? These low-level Edomites versus the government. Okay, so you're seeing that on display. Isaiah 19:3, and the spirit of Egypt shall fall in the midst thereof, and I will destroy the counsel thereof, and they shall seek to their idols and to their charmers, and to them that have familiar spirits, to the wizards. Yeah, so they're going to try to seek to what? Their monthly prognosticators, you know, their Australiers. I can't even say it right now. Let me just get the scripture. They're going to try to, reach for those monthly prognosticators, those Chaldeans, okay, on the left-hand side. This is, we'll say about 20. Isaiah 47 and, yeah, right here. We'll just read from 9. It says, Isaiah 47:9, but these two things shall come to thee in a moment, in one day, the loss of children, the widowhood, they shall come upon thee, in the perfection of the multitude of sorceries, and for the great abundance of thy enchantments. So these sorceries are what? Trump being raided, the FBI office in Ohio being shot up, okay, Alex Jones being caught for what, being found guilty for speaking about, what happened over there at the school. Okay, all these would take away what? Your free speech, ultimately knocking down the internet. So you will, you can't be able to say nothing against the, against the government. And that's what why that central banking digital currency is so vital. First of all, because it's ultimately bringing in prophecy, but because that gives them all power, where they can be able to, if you say anything, they'll just shut you off. Okay. Isaiah 47:10, it says, for thou hast trusted in wickedness, thou hast said, none seeth me, the wisdom and knowledge he hath perverted thee, and thou hast said in their heart, I am and none else beside me. Yeah, so their pride has deceived them. Okay, their pride, let's get it. Obadiah 1:2, behold, I have made thee small among the heathen, thou art greatly despised. So all these nations that were confederate, that were aligned with you, they're all starting to come against you, starting with what? Turkey. Turkey was basically your number one ally back when NATO started, okay, and now they're gearing up with Russia, and that's all prophecy, Ezekiel 38, Tubal. Obadiah 1:3, the pride of thy heart have deceived thee, thou dwellest in the clefts of the rocks, whose habitation is high, they said in thy heart, they shall bring me down, who shall bring me down to the ground? Who dwells in the clefts of the rocks? I already told you when they were at the lowest state, okay, when they were at their lowest state, they were in the Russia-Georgia mountains. Okay, in the clefts of the rocks. And what do they do right now? They build their their skyscrapers, New York, Chicago, okay, and it's all around the world, showing you that we're supposed to prophesy against Mount Seir anywhere they pitch their tent, because they're all over the world spreading their tree like a Green Bay tree. Okay, they have their roots, their branches in all these different places, bringing forth democracy, bringing forth evils, tyranny and rulership. It says and and so that's the description of who they are. Okay, who shall bring me down? That goes into their pride. Okay, their heart, their mind, right? It says, they shall exalt thyself as an eagle, though they set the nest among the stars, thence I will bring thee down, said Yahweh. So that's their number one mascot, is the eagle. That goes all the way back to Rome. Okay. You have the Democrat and the Republican, they're of the same eagle. And whenever you hear one of these presidents speak, they always have the eagle in the background. Okay? And the red, white, and blue, which goes back to Rome. Okay? And when they went to go up to the moon, okay, when they went to supposedly go up to, go up to the moon, which they didn't. Okay, that was nothing but a lie, right? That was the same time that Abba Bivens came on the scene, 1969, 1970, and he was even out there before. But that's when the Great Awakening came. Okay, when you sparked the One West camps, right? It says, Obadiah, I want to get Obadiah 1 and 7. All men of thy confederacy have brought thee even to the border, and the men that were at peace with thee deceived thee, and they prevailed against thee, and they said, eat the bread and have laid the wound, and under thee there is none understanding in him. Yeah, so your trusted friends are what set traps for you, okay, by what having you set these sanctions on Russia, and that ultimately backfired on you, and now you have what these other nations that are coming against you through what these BRICS nations, okay. This is Zechariah 1 and 17. It reads, Zechariah 1 and 17. So I can bear with me real quick. Zechariah 1 and 17. Cry yet, saying this, Yahweh of hosts, my cities through prosperity shall yet be spread abroad, and Yahweh shall yet comfort Zion, and shall yet choose Jerusalem. Okay, so the Lord is comforting us what through this word, okay, to be able to give us a comfort that he is with us, that he is with us always, and we pray that he's always with his elect. Okay, he's never left us, right? And he comforts by what these scriptures, by this word. Okay, let me just highlight this real quick. So this is Zechariah 1 and 18. It says, then lifted up my eyes and saw, behold, 4 horns. Okay, and the horn symbolizes what? Power. Okay, so you have what? Spain, you have Germany, you have France, and you have England. And they're all part of what? The NATO and the EU, that this whore, Babylon the Great, the mother of all harlots, rides upon the beast. Okay, and that was where the beginning stages of basically them implementing their power around the four corners of the earth, them gathering up the nations. That speaks about in Habakkuk 2 and 5. Okay, so you have what, Spain, which a lot of our people have what, Spanish last names. That's where you get, that language. Okay, you have the French, our people speaking French, the German last names, right? And also the British last names. Why? Because those were our oppressors. Okay, this is the point. Zechariah 1 and 19. It says, and I said unto the angel that talked with me, what be these? And he answered me, and these are the horns which have scattered Judah and Israel and Jerusalem. Yeah, so those are the powers that scattered us, that brought us through what the triangular, the transatlantic slave trade. Okay, but there was a triangular, I can't even say it, triangular trade. Okay, where you had the northern tribes. Let me get some water quick. We had the northern tribes that were already over here in Azareth, which is America, and they were being transported to back over there to Africa, okay, and then vice versa, and then it was going back to these different nations, and they were trading us as gifts. It speaks about that in Revelation, okay, and they scattered us abroad, that we would come against a nation with a fierce countenance that would be like an eagle, and that would show no respect to a woman, man, or child, okay, which is the things that they have done. Right, and those started with those 4 horns, and then now it's into those 30 different nations. Right, it says 20, and Yahweh showed me the 4 carpenters. Okay, and what does a carpenter do? It cuts down. Okay, those would be what the BRICS nations. You have Brazil. BRICS is just an acronym for the different countries. Right, you have Brazil, Russia. Okay, you have India. You have China, and you have South Africa, and they have joined with what? Venezuela, Nicaragua. They have joined with what? Iran, Saudi Arabia. Okay, now they're joining with what? Turkey. Okay, and all these are going to be a guard to what? Russia and the Medes. Okay, which Slakia, let me say that the Medes are Russia. Okay, and also Magog and Gog in the scriptures is also Russia. Okay, because they're in that land. And those are Edomites too. And that's showing that this nation is divided. And how are they divided? Let's get a scripture. Starting with this word. And if a nation, let me just get it. Mark 3 and 24. And if a kingdom be, this is Yahawashi speaking, and if a kingdom be divided against itself, the kingdom cannot stand. And these Edomites are divided. Okay, their allies are coming against each other, right? Ultimately to bring in prophecy. It says 25, and if a house be divided against itself, the house cannot stand. And if Satan rise up against himself and be divided, he cannot stand, but hath an end. It says 27, no man can enter into a strong man's house and spoil his goods, except he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. How is this devil being bound? By this word, by being exposed, by being made bare. His kingdom is being brought down. And that strong man is ultimately Yahawashi. Okay, he is that prophet. Let's get this. This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 4. It says, where the word of a king is, there is power, and who may say unto them, while doest thou? Okay, and he is Yahawashi is what that strong man. That's what hewing this place down. Okay, giving a breath and life to what his prophets. It's Hosea 6 and 5, it says, I want to read this in the NLT. I sent my prophets to cut you to pieces, to slaughter you with my words, where judgments are as inescapable as light. Yeah, they're inescapable. Okay? Because what? The Lord... Deuteronomy 32 and 39, see now that I am he, that there is no God with me. I kill and I make alive. I wound and I heal. Neither is there any that can deliver you out of my hand. For I will lift up my hand to heaven, and I will say, I will live forever. If I whet my glittering sword, and my hand take hold on judgment, I will render vengeance to my enemies, and I will reward them that hate me. Okay, so who's the number one enemy? Esau, Edom. Okay, and these other heathen nations, and even 2/3 of our people. Right? So if he renders that glittering sword, which is those hypersonic missiles, okay, he will reward them that hate him. Okay, and he's not at all going to quit the wicked. Nahum 1 and 3, the Lord Yahweh is slow to anger and great in power, will not at all acquit the wicked, for Yahweh had his way in the whirlwind, in the storm, in the clouds, and the dust at his feet. Okay? Because of what? Their pride. They think that they can't be taken down. Proverbs 16 and 18, pride goeth before destruction, a haughty spirit before a fall. And what you're seeing is a fall of a great kingdom. Why? Because of their pride. It says, for the Lord Yahweh made all things for himself, yet even the wicked for the day of evil. Everyone that is proud in heart is an abomination to Yahweh, and through hand joined in hand, he shall not be unpunished. By mercy and truth and iniquity is purged, but by fear Yahweh men depart from evil. Okay? And that's what the true elect is going to be doing, what? Departing from evil, departing from what the ways of this world, transferring on your mind, what? Loving not this world or the things in it, because they're going to be destroyed. Yeah, we got that. Hosea. So Hosea 12 and 10. Hosea 12 and 10. I have also spoken by the prophets. I have multiplied visions and used similitudes by the ministry of the prophets. Yes, spoken to us in parables about the things that are about to happen. Okay? Like parables like what the fig tree and when the harvest is ripe, because a lot of things are related to what? Farming. Okay, and right now this place is ready for the plucking, ready for that sickle. This is Hosea 12 and 13. And by the prophet, Yahweh brought Israel out of Egypt, and by the prophet has he preserved. Okay, and that prophet is ultimately Yahawashi. Okay, but he sent forth what? His prophets to be able to give the vision. Because they have what? The mysteries. Jeremiah 3 and 15, I will give you pastures according to my heart. So your heart goes into your mind, your lahab, which shall feed you with knowledge and understanding. Okay, when you go into the word pastors, it goes into what? Associate. And we're praying that we're of the business of Yahweh Shemashai. Because Yahawashi, when he went out to go teach when he was a young man, okay, he was what? He was saying, I came out to do my father's business. And we're praying that we're associates of Yahweh Shemashai, right? So going back, Mark 3 and 27, no man can enter into a strong man's house. So now we know who that strong man is. That's ultimately Yahawashi, but he sent forth his prophets, right? And to spoil his goods, except when he first bind the strong man, and then he will spoil his house. Because what? Yahweh Shemashai speaks to what? His prophets. And he gives them the mouth, he touches their mouth and they can speak. Jeremiah 1 and 9, it says, then Yahweh put forth his hand and touched my mouth, and Yahweh said unto me, behold, I have put my words in thy mouth. Okay? Let's get another one. 2 Thessalonians 2 and about 8. 2 Thessalonians 2:8, and then shall the wicked be revealed, whom Yahushua shall consume with the spirit of his mouth. Okay, those go into the prophets, and destroy with the brightness of his coming. So ultimately, the prophets are bringing forth what? Prophecy. Okay, ultimately bringing in the kingdom for to have Yahushua deliver us, right? It says, even him whose coming is after the working of Satan, okay, which is Esau, Edom. They're under what? The spiritual demon of Satan. Okay, what? They're in the flesh, bringing out what the wickedness, to what? Dishonor. Okay, it says with all power, signs, and lying wonders, and that's what he's coming with, his lying wonders, his pseudoscience, which is in a broad sense not what seems to be. Okay, it seems like they want to help, but they're actually pulling off a siege on the people, and a lot of the people are having that understanding of what these devils are doing. Okay, and they're getting restless, right? Deuteronomy 28:52, and I besiege thee in all thy gates until thy high fence walls come down, wherein thy trusteth throughout all the land. And he shall besiege thee in all thy gates throughout the land, which Yahweh thy power hath given thee. Okay, so this happened before, right, in 70 AD, but this is it retains to right now, because they're sieging Babylon the Great, cutting off the famine, or cutting off the famine, cutting off the food, cutting off the water, cutting off your, a way to work, bringing forth these lockdowns, through their pestilence, through their climate change, all this BS, which ultimately they want to bring in their New World Order. That's why you have Egyptian against Egyptian. Okay, that's why they're trying to actually we're over here. Jeremiah bring in their monthly prognosticators, right? Because they know that they have but a short time, but these things are not going to be able to work. Jeremiah, it's Isaiah 47. Isaiah 47, just to finish it out on that point, it says Isaiah 47 and 11, therefore shall evil come upon thee, and thou shalt not know from whence it riseth, and mischief shall fall upon thee, and thou shalt not be able to put it off, and desolation shall come upon thee suddenly, what thou shalt not know. Stand now with thy enchantments and with thy multitude of sorceries, wherein thou hast labored from the youth. If so be thou shalt be able to profit, if so be thou mayest prevail. And thou art wearied in the multitude of counsels, let not the astrologers, I got it right that time, the stargazers and the monthly prognosticators stand up and save thee from these things that shall come upon thee. Behold, thou shalt be as stubble, and the fire shall burn them. They shall not deliver themselves from the power of the flame. There shall not be coal to warm at all, nor fire to sit before it. Okay? So they're not going to be able to stop this fire, because let me get a scripture. The sound of battle is in the air. Right? And Jeremiah 50:22, a sound of battle is in the land of great destruction. Okay? And where's that great destruction? Okay? Babylon the Great. Right? 23, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? Okay, that hammer goes into the military. And now you have them shooting off these missiles. Okay, but these missiles are not going to be able to do anything, because they're not hypersonic missiles. Okay, that's why the weak are saying what they are strong now. 24, I have laid a snare for thee, and thou also taken, O Babylon, and thou hast waste, not aware, and thou art found also caught, because thou hast striven against Yahweh. The Lord Yahweh hath opened up his armory, and hath brought forth the weapons of indignation, for this is the work of Yahweh Shai of hosts of the land of the Chaldeans. Okay, and what is Yahweh Shai's armory? All these different nations. Okay, all these different nations that are gearing up and getting ready for battle. Joel 3:9, proclaim you among the Gentiles, prepare war, wake up the mighty men, let all the men war draw near, let them come up. Okay, and that goes also for the Egyptians. Okay, this is speaking about the different nations. Okay, but also you have these spirits created for vengeance that are going to be coming up against the government. It's going to be all out chaos. It says 10, beat your plowshares into swords and your pruning hooks into spears. Let the weak say I am strong. Okay, and that's what the weak are saying. Okay, they're saying that they are strong because China and Russia, all these different nations, they didn't have the nuclear capability. They didn't have that hammer. Okay, but now they do, right? It says 11, assemble thyselves and come up hither and gather yourselves together round about thither, because the mighty ones have come down to Yahweh. It says, let the heathen be awakened to come up of the valley of Yahweh Shaphat, for there will sit to judge all the heathen round about. Yeah, so Yahweh Shaphat is Yahweh's judgment. Okay, and he's going to bring them over to the the Mediterranean Sea, which is the western side of Syria. And all those nations are going to be fighting against one another. And ultimately, they're going to try to come up against Yahawashi and the angels and the chariots. And they're going to be broken with them lasers, okay? Because it's all a setup. That's that trap and that snare. Right? That's why let's get that. That's why this Isaiah 54:16. Behold, I have created the smith, and bloweth the coals in the fire, and bringeth forth the instrument for his work, and I have created the waster to destroy. Okay, that's the hypersonic missiles. Okay, that was recreated by the dude. Dude said he is what? He said he is death. Okay, I want to say is Oppenheimer, right? It says Isaiah 54:17, no weapon that is formed thee against thee shall prosper, and every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment thou shalt condemn. This is the heritage of the servants Yahweh, and the righteousness as of me, said Yahweh. So none of these weapons are going to be able to touch what the elect, right? So this is a spirit. I want to go back to this because I don't think I finished it out. So Zechariah 1:18. Yeah. It says, and the Lord Yahweh showed me 4 carpenters. Okay, so again, going into what those BRICS nations that are preparing for war. They're beating their plowshares, okay, which is the agriculture, and gearing up arms. Okay, gearing up hypersonic missiles, gearing up drones, getting their soldiers ready, preparing for war. It says 21, and then said, when I come up these spoke, and saying, these are the horns which have scattered Judah, so that no man did lift up his head, but these are come to fray them, to cast them up the horns of the Gentiles, which lifted up their horn over the land of Judah, to scatter it. Okay, to fray means what? To cause terror. Okay, it means to rip out. So when you think about your clothes, if it has a hole in it, or whatever, has a little hole in it, and if you pull that string, it's slowly tearing it out, ultimately, so it becomes a big hole, because now they're just running their mouth, but ultimately it's going to be to where it's no more, and it's going to be hit with those terrors, hit with those missiles, okay? And that's what the true men of the Lord are praying that the judgment is going to be coming on this place, and it's going to be let me get that, Isaiah 9. Isaiah 9:5, for every battle of the warriors with confused noise and garments rolled in blood, but as it shall be burning with fuel and fire. Okay, so again, you had back in the days, certain warfare, you would be fight hand to hand. You would actually have the kings fighting too with their swords, but now it's going to be what those hypersonic missiles. Okay, it's going to be from afar, and when these things hit, it's over with. There's no more coming back. It's radiation in the water. It's contaminated. Okay, there's no food. Okay, if you look at Nagasaki and Hiroshima, right, a big boy and little boy, if you look at the people that still live there, they all have deformities and things like that, and that's what it's going to be doing. But this time, it's going to be truly the end. So let's go back to that Isaiah 19:2. Let's see. Okay, so we got that. So I want to go into Jeremiah, because it's going to be all out war. Jeremiah 51. And Babylon, can't be healed. So anybody that's trying to say, "Oh, this is gonna be, it's gonna be all right," no, it's not. Jeremiah 51:1 that said, "Yahweh, behold, I will raise up against Babylon and against them that dwell in the midst of them that rise up against me in destroying wind." So Babylon is America, right? "I will send unto Babylon fanners, and they shall fan her, and shall empty her land in the day of trouble. They shall be against her round about." Okay. So again, these foreigners, they're going to be coming over here because Russia owns a lot of the land, or not Russia, but China. Okay. And also Russia's going to be coming over here too. Spoiling the goods, ravaging this place. Why? Because it was built on blood. Okay. Skipping 3. Jeremiah 51:3, against him that bendeth let the archer bend his bow, and against him that lifted up against his Brigadin, and spare ye not her young men, and destroy utterly her hosts. Okay, so it's not going to be no, okay, we're going to save this woman, we're going to save this child. No, it's going to be utter chaos, right? Skipping down, Jeremiah 51:6, flee out of the midst of Babylon and deliver every man his soul. Be not cut off from the iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense. Yeah, repayment for all the what? The blood, sweat, and tears. Okay, that you have put on this place. Let me get a scripture. Because the guy was saying this place is what built on blood, sweat, and tears. Right? So this is a Sirach 21. And now he's trying to set a trap on the people. This is Sirach, and the apocrypher. Sirach 21 and 8. Sirach 21 and 8. He that buildeth his house with other men's money is like one that gather himself stones for the tomb of his burial. The congregation of the wicked is like a tow wrapped together, and the end of them is a flame of fire to destroy them. The ways of sinner are made plain with the stones, but the end thereof is a pit of hell. Yeah, the pit of hell was going to be those hypersonic missiles burning all the way to the top of these skyscrapers. Okay? Which is hell is what a condition played out on earth. Let me get Sirach 27, and we'll start at the end, because they're setting a pit for the people to fall into. They're trapped into their beast system, because misery loves company. Sirach 27 and 26, whose dig a pit shall fall therein, and he that set a trap shall be taken therein. He that worketh mischief shall fall upon him, and he shall not know whence it cometh. Mockery and reproach are from the proud, but vengeance as a lion shall lie in wait for them. They that rejoice at the fall of the righteous shall be taken in a snare, and anguish shall consume them before they die. Malice and wrath, even these abominations, and the sinful man shall have them both. Yeah, and who's that sinful man? Esau Edom. Because he's building a town upon blood. And blood shall pursue them. This is Nahum. Slakia, 3 and 1. Because this is what's going to, Esau Edom's going to be Slakia, these Russians and these different troops are going to be coming over to Babylon, spoiling their goods. Nahum 3 and 1, woe to the bloody city. Woe means destruction. Is full of lies and robbery. They pray, depart not. The noise of the whip and the noise of the rattling of the wheels and the promising of the horses and the jumping of the chariots. Okay, going into those planes, going into those tanks, coming over here and destroying this place, right? 3, the horsemen lift up both in the bright sword and the glittering spear, and there is a multitude of slain, going into those hypersonic missiles, and a great number of carcasses, and there is none the end of their corpses. They stumble upon their corpses, because the multitude of whoredoms of the well-favored harlot and the mistress of witchcrafts, they sell nations through their whoredoms and families through their witchcraft. Yeah, through their enchantments. Okay, they're able to deceive the people through usury, through the military. Okay, and use their witchcraft, as I read in Isaiah 47. Behold, I am against thee, O Yahweh of hosts. Yeah, host means armies. And I will discover the skirts upon their face. I will show the nations their nakedness and the kingdoms their shame. Yeah, so this whore has got her whole ass showing out, and it's all full of a monkey business. And all these different nations are laughing right here. It says 6, I will cast abominable filth upon thee. I will make thee vile, and I will set thee as a gazing stock. Aren't they doing that? Aren't they laughing and joking about Pedo Joe and the Transformers in the army, and laughing at Kamala Harris and their rulership? Okay, they become a gazing stock. Why? Because they came against Yahweh Shem Shai, right? So this is Jeremiah 51 and 6. Flee out of the midst of Babylon, deliver every man his soul, but not cut off in iniquity, for this is the time of Yahweh's vengeance. He will render unto her recompense. Babylon had been a golden cup in Yahweh's hand that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine. Therefore the nations are mad. Yeah, so they are mad because a lot of these nations have invested money in Babylon the Great, and what's happened? Now it's all going to naught. Now they want their money, but Esau doesn't want to pay up. Okay, so they are mad, right? They are Confederate. Okay, the allies are starting to turn against this whore. 8, Babylon suddenly has fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm for her pain? If she may be healed. So again, there's no medicine, there's no remedy for Babylon the Great being destroyed. It's set and it's marked in history for a sudden destruction. Okay, it says 9, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go on everyone. It says, we would have healed Babylon, but she is not healed. Forsake her and let us go, every one into his own country, for her judgment reaches to heaven and is lifted up and even to the skies. Okay, yeah, so you're seeing that right now, that these heathen nations, they're starting to go back to their countries. That's what future prophecy, and you're seeing that happen right now. Okay, because why? This is Revelation 18, because they see the sudden destruction. This is Revelation 18 and 5. For her sins have reached into heaven, and Yahweh remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she's rewarded you, and double unto her, a double according to her works, and the cup which she have filled to her double. Yeah, rape, rob, and murdering. Okay, that they have put upon this earth. Okay. It says 7. How much she glorified herself and lived deliciously, so much torment and sorrow. Give her, for she said in her heart, I sit a queen, I am no widow, and I shall not see sorrow. So Babylon the Great, this whore, is saying, well, I haven't lost no wars, okay? But this is going to be the one that you lose, where you're going to be put down forever. It says 8, therefore shall her plagues come in one day, death and mourning and famine. She shall be utterly burned with fire, for strong is Yahweh Shemashai, who judgeth her. And the kings of the earth who have committed fornication, who live deliciously with her, shall bewail her and lamentate for her when she shall see the smoke of the burning. Yeah, so all these different heathen nations that came over here to the merchant city to be able to sell their goods and bring it back to their countries and became rich off the blood, sweat, and tears of you so-called Negroes, so-called Latinos, so-called Native Americans. Okay, it's going to be burn in a fire, and you're going to be laminating because you're not going to be able to make no money off this whore no more. 10, standing afar off, fear of her torment, saying at last, for that great city of Babylon, that mighty city, for in 1 hour her judgment came. Yeah, so in 1 hour, this place is going to be destroyed. And 29 minutes it takes from Russia for those hypersonic missiles to come over to Babylon the Great, the Satan II. Okay, and then the Lord's going to intervene in that same time. Okay, and it's going to be what confused noise. This is Zechariah. There's going to be fervent heat. 14. Zechariah 14 and 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith Yahweh will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Okay, so when it goes into and their eyes shall consume away, yeah, so their belief that the New World Order was going to be coming forth, their future. Okay, they're not going to have no more future. It's going to be melted up, consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. So there's going to be no more talking in that day of judgment. Okay, there's not going to be no mocking and scoffing, because again, it's going to be that fervent heat. Those that don't take heed. Okay, because the Lord is not slack concerning his promise, that he will avenge his people, that he will come back with great vengeance, that he will come back with that great sword. 2 Peter 3 and 9, the Lord Yahawashi is not slack concerning his promise, as some men count slackness, but is long-suffering to usward, not willing that any should perish, but all that should come to repentance. And that's going to be the elect. They're going to all come to repentance, because once Revelation 7 speaks about that, when the 144,000 is sealed and the common believers are sealed, that's when all the sudden destruction is going to happen. When the all-out, that's going to be the hour of temptation. Okay. And that's when the Lord's going to intervene and lift up his elect to those chariots, right? 10, but the day of Yahawashi will come as a thief in the night, in which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that these things shall be dissolved, in what manner of persons ought you to be in the holy conversation and the godliness, looking for and hastening into the coming day of Yahweh, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. That's why we're supposed to be fervent in the spirit, because we don't want to get melt with that fervent heat. Okay. Nonetheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth, wherein that dwell righteousness. Okay, so new heavens and new earth. Praying that this place be put down and bringing in the kingdom of Yahweh Shemashai. Okay, so let me read this again. 2 Peter 3 and 13. Nonetheless, we, according to his promise, look for new heavens and new earth, wherein that dwell righteousness. But first, the destruction has to happen. This is Amos, I think it's 1. Let's see. I haven't gone to this in a minute. Let's see real quick. Bear with me. Yeah, so Amos. Actually, let me go to 5 first, because this is how it's going to be in that day. Amos 5:18, and then I'll end it back on Amos 1. Amos 5:18. Woe, which means destruction unto them that desire the day of Yahweh. To what end is it for you? The day of Yahweh is darkness and not light. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him and went into the house and leaned on his hand in the wall, and the serpent bit him. Okay, yeah. So you escaped one thing. Okay, you escaped 100. Like I always say, it's gonna be like The Purge mixed with Jumanji mixed with War of the Worlds. Okay, but it's gonna be real. It's gonna be real. So you pray that Yahweh Shema Shai has that hedge around you in the day of judgment. It says, let me read this again. 19. As if a man did flee from a lion, and a bear met him and went into the house and leaned on his hand in the wall, and a serpent bit him. Shall not the day of Yahweh be darkness and not light, even very darkness and not brightness in it? So again, going into what? The smoke going all the way up to the heavens. Okay? This is Amos, going back to Amos. Or staying in Amos, but going back to 1. Amos, I'm going to end it right here. This is Amos 1:3. That said, Yahweh, for all these 3 transgressions of Damascus, and for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof. It says, because they have threshed Gilead in the threshing instruments of iron, but I will send a fire into the house of Hazel, which shall be devour the places of Ben-Hadad, and I will break also the bar of Damascus, and cut off the inhabitants from the plain of Avon, and the scepter of the house of Eden. Okay, and the people of Syria shall go into captivity and conquer, and said Yahweh. Thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Gaza, and for 4, when I return away the punishment thereof, because they carried away the captive of the whole captivity to deliver there from Edom. Who's Edom? That's the so-called white man. Okay, and it says right here, Yahweh's judgment of Israel's neighbors. Okay. It says 7, but I will send a fire on the wall of Gaza, which shall devour the places thereof. I will cut off the inhabitant from Ashdod. Where's Ashdod? That's over there, in Israel, right? And him that hold the scepter of Ashkelon, and I will turn my hand against Ekron, and the remnant of the Philistines shall perish, said Yahweh by Shema Shai. Okay, thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Tyrus, okay, which is Esau, Edom, and for 4, I will not turn away thy punishment and thereof, because they had delivered up the whole captivity of Edom. Remember not the brotherly covenant, but I will send a fire to the wall of Tyrus, which shall devour the places thereof. Okay, going into those hypersonic missiles. Thus said Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of Edom, for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they did pursue his brother with the sword, and did not. Who is his brother? Okay, Jacob. Right? And did not cast all pity, in his anger did not tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever. But I will send fire upon Teman. Okay, Teman are what? The wisest of the Edomites, okay, which would be the Germans, which created what the waster and split the atom, which shall devour the places of Basra, and Basra is what? A place back in Edom. Okay? And that's spiritually known as what? Edom today. Right? That said Yahweh, for 3 transgressions of the children of Ammon, okay, going back to what the Japanese, for 4, I will not turn away the punishment thereof, because they have ripped up the women with the child of Gilad, and they might enlarge their border. But I will kindle a fire in the wall of Rabbi, and shall devour the places thereof, with shouting in the day of battle, with tempest in the day of the whirlwind. And their king shall go into captivity, and his princes together, said Yahweh. So again, all these devils are going to be put in captivity. Okay, this is ultimately what this is all leading to, far as these wars and these rumors of wars, leading to what these devils in captivity, and the Lord is going to save his remnant. Let's get that, and then I'll end it in there. This is Isaiah 10:20. It says, and it shall come to pass in that day that the remnant of Israel, such as have escaped the house of Jacob, shall no more again stay upon them that smote them, and by stay upon Yahweh, the Holy One of Israel, in truth. The remnant shall return, even the remnant of Jacob, to the mighty hand of Yahweh. For the people of Israel shall be the sand of the sea, yet the remnant of them shall return, and the consumption decreed shall overflow with righteousness. For Yahweh Shema Shai of hosts shall make consumption even determined in the midst of their land. Therefore thus said Yahweh of hosts, of my people that dwellest in Zion, be not afraid of the Assyrian, which is what? The Edomites, right? He shall smite thee with the rod, and shall lift up his staff against thee after the manner of Egypt. For yet a little while, and the indignation shall cease, in my anger and the destruction. So again, his anger is what? Ceasing by what? Giving us forth what? The understanding of what? The scriptures. And the Lord is raising up that hand, which is the modern day Assyrian that's been bringing forth what? The judgment on us. This is real. I'm going to end it right here. This is Jeremiah 30 and 17. Yep. Jeremiah 30 and 16. Therefore, all that devour shall be devoured, and all thy adversaries, every one of them shall go into captivity. And they that spoil thee shall be a spoil, and all that prey upon thee will I give for a prey. It says 17, for I will restore health unto thee. I will heal thee of the wound, said Yahweh, because thou called thee outcast, saying, this is Zion, who no man seeketh after. Okay, and the Lord is what? Healing us mentally, spiritually, and physically, and ultimately is going to what? Beam up his elect. So with that, Call Yahweh by Hashem Yarashai, by Hashem Makakwadash. Shalom to elect. Kwam Yashala.